What's going down, everyone, and welcome to Space Lizard Exotics. Hope everyone is doing well, staying awesome, staying rad, wherever you're at in this glorious, amazing world. We are going to be talking about what I use for mite prevention. So grab a stimulated drink and let's get today cracking. That's a huge thing. If you have ever had mites, you know it is a nightmare and a headache to get rid of them. You have to go through your whole entire collection. It's a big hassle and it stresses your animal out, most importantly. So this is what I personally use to do mite prevention. First thing, let's start off with get some good nitrile gloves. Nitriles are, in my opinion, the best to use, especially for these little fun events. Love us. And let's talk about what we use for mite prevention. I use frontline spray. This is a method that is used in the reptile community. You've probably seen it before. If this is new to you, well, wonderful. Let's talk why we use this. This, I know you might see like, is that a kitty? Is that a dog on that? This isn't for reptiles. Listen, this is the best method I've ever used for mite prevention. And even in cases to where you get an animal and it does have mites, you're like, oh my God, it gets rid of them, I promise you. This is what I've personally used, and if you do get a chance, try it out, see what you think. It's a wonderful method, and I definitely recommend it. What you're gonna need, you're gonna need some Q-tips, some paper towels, make them soft, get the Vivas. Vivas are fantastic. And of course, get your frontline spray. Now, one of the first steps that you do want to do is remove the water dish. Now, none of the snakes do have mice. This is just a mite preventative maintenance thing that we're going to be doing at Space Lizard Exotics today. So remove the water dish. The reason why we remove the water dishes is because if the snake is moving around, does have the front line on it, you want to minimize the ingestion of frontline as much as possible. I'm not saying it does happen all the time, but it can happen. The snake's going to be moving around, especially when you put them back in there. And so what we're going to be discussing is how we apply frontline, why we apply it in these types of manners, which is about, I feel, every 2 months, once on your collection. Should be very good. If you are one of those that are consistently bringing in reptiles, or if you do have other pets, cats or dogs, you might want to do it maybe once a month, especially if you are bringing in other reptiles from other pet stores, or if you're going to reptile shows, things like that. Especially if you go to reptile shows, definitely quarantine and treat those reptiles accordingly, because it's a reptile show. So, you know, I'm not saying that you're not getting a good animal, but it's definitely, you know, preventive measures are, you definitely need to take those. So let's get this wonderful snake out and let's get cracking. All right, so now that we have removed Marduk, which is one of our amazing Emerald Tree Boas here at Space Lizard Exotics, let's get to it. Let's start spraying these paper towels down. So what I recommend if you do this method to do mite prevention is to spray down your paper towels. Make sure they're Vivas. Vivas are the best. So you want to spray down the paper towel real good. Don't be shy. You know, get it nice and wet. That way it's a lot easier to rub down the snake with. Now, in cases to where it is a infestation, right, and your snake, you could see the mites on them, you're like, oh my God, this is not good. You're going to have to quarantine your snake, right? You're not going to put them back in their enclosure, because basically if mites are like visible like that on your snake, they're everywhere. They're crawling over your enclosure. They're on your collection at that point if you have other reptiles and things like that. So let's keep that in mind, okay? And one thing I do want to point out with these snakes, don't be shy. Get in there and make sure that you rub them down really good. I'm going to show you what we use. This is why we also have the Q-tips, okay? So if you do have a nippy snake, you're going to probably have fun with this. Emerald Tree Boas are sometimes a little nippy, but mine, I've been really lucky and blessed to get really chilled out ones, especially with handling. Now, other snakes might, if you do have collection, they might not take as well to this, but nevertheless, it's very important to do it. Just, take the licks, they say. Now, this snake right here, he's a trip. He's only struck at me a few times, and he does hate when we do this. So this is always going to be fun with Marduk. So what we did, bam, wet those. Reason why, we're going to do that last. And going to get the paper towel super soaked. Now, if you do have an infestation, like I said, quarantine. But what we're going to do, I recommend starting at the head. They hate it, And it's just good to get that done first for a couple reasons. One, you know, you're done with the head right away where their teeth are, and then two, you are able just to rub down the body, right? And that's what we were trying to do, is just rub down the body real nice. That way the treatment is on them and you can put them back in their enclosure. So what you want to do, just go on the head, rub real good. This stuff does dry right away, and then, oh goodness gracious, I know you don't like it. In these cases, get right there. Ooh, come on. There you go. All right. And rub down the body just like that. Perfect. Go all the way down to the tail. Do one more good one just like that. There you go. Good, good, good. Bam. Heck yeah. And that, like I said, that's why you do want to soak it, because that way you get a good, nice rub down on the reptiles. Now, this is very important too. Even with prevention, I always recommend going right, I know, I thought that tail was going to come around with me, right below the jawline, right? So there's a line underneath the Emerald Tree Boas. What you're going to want to do is get right under there and really, really get in there, right there. See? Get right in there and go down and rub inside there, okay? Get right up in those creases. Just in case there are any mites, we're going to get Marduk back in the enclosure. Like I said, nice soft Viva paper towels. It's helpful, especially when you're rubbing down the snake. They don't like it. They're gonna be like, dude, this sucks. Like I said, this does dry off. You still wanna remove the water dish though. And for preventative measures, we're just gonna put him back in there. He's really stoked. He's probably like, dude, just get me back in there. So what we're doing now, we're just putting Marduk back in his enclosure. And like I said, just make him, you know, comfortable, get him back in there. In these cases, we don't have an infestation, right? So this is why I am comfortable putting the snake back in his enclosure. If there was an infestation, you would see me quarantining the snake. This is very important. And when I say quarantine, you still want to remove the water dish when you do first quarantine the snake for about 24 hours, right? Just take it out. Ideally, if you have an enclosure that's available, just remove everything, right? If not, clean it real good. Put the snake in there, very base, paper towel. Make sure that the water dish is removed for 24 hours. Put the water back in there. Keep an eye on the snake. And you want to treat usually about twice, just to get rid of those mites. You will see the mites die off, and then after that, you can put them back into their enclosure. Cleaning the enclosure and bioactive setups. Unfortunately, like if you do have mites, just get everything out. You know, you could rinse off the plants, maybe treat the plants with, you know, something that's not, you know, of course, not going to harm the snake. But other than that, you have to get rid of everything. Unfortunately, start over again. That's very important. So, unfortunately, we don't have an infestation. We're just doing this for mite prevention. So this is what I use at Space Lizard Exotics. I know a lot of keepers and reptile enthusiasts have used this method before as well. It's a very, very good method to use. I recommend it. It's helped me before in the past, and it's way better than other products that I've used before, and it seems to work absolutely fantastic. Hope everyone enjoyed this wonderful video today that we did with the Frontline spray. Got to clean up, do some more chores today. As always, thank you for tuning in to Space Lizard Exotics. Hit us up on social media. Don't forget TikTok, Instagram, of course, YouTube. Questions, comments, emotional outbursts are always welcome. It's always wonderful to hear from all of you amazing, amazing humans. So please, as always, take care and take care of each other and take care of those critters. And we will see you next time at Space Lizard Exotics.